Hello, 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 hello. I am here under the apple tree, and look how many white, pinkish apple blossoms are there. Slightly pinkish, some of those petals. Incredibly nice, gorgeous, and out of every one of those apple blossoms grows an apple, an entire apple. They're huge. They're like this big sometimes, the apples. And red, all red, like blood red. And they are sour, but when they're ready at the very end of October and the beginning of November, that's when they are all red, and that's when they are sour in a they have a little bit more sugar in them, but they're still sour tart, and very fruity, very crisp. Makes me get saliva in my mouth thinking about those apples because they are so sour in a in an exciting way, So not too sour, of course. And I remember Kenny, our Great Dane, when he was young, when he was only half a year old, I got apples from the tree, red, ripe apples. I cut them in slices and I fed these slices to him, and he ate them, and he liked it. It's pretty good. I had never seen a dog before him eat apple slices. So I don't think the baby dog does, but he eats banana pieces sometimes. So he eats a lot of different things, peanuts, and he would also eat a chamois, which is very dangerous, of course. Chamois are those kitchen versatile rags that you can get that are made out of synthetic materials, kind of like a fibrous type of spongy type of synthetic materials. They're like the thick rags, and they soak up enormous amount of liquid from the counter, so they make very good wipes for kitchen counter and sink, and they also make very good dog wipe towels, and they make very good cleaning rags in general. So they're really, really, really amazing. I use them all the time. But the other day, one fell down and he got a hold of it, and there was no way for me to get that out of his mouth in time, and he would also not let me have it, so he was all plucking that into little pieces. And then I don't know if he actually swallowed some of it, so hopefully, and I think that it seemed like it went all the way through. But you don't want to leave something like this ever on the floor anywhere or within reach of the dog, particularly a stuffy dog. So stuffy dogs, they can jump high. They get to all kinds of. They could probably jump up on a tall refrigerator and grab something that is hanging off the edge, or something like this. So they get a hold of a lot of stuff. He got a broom and a shovel, and he chopped that up into little pieces and splinters. So all of this is very dangerous. We have to pay attention, not to ever leave anything on the floor or within reach. So it's very, very important. I'm just amazed at how apples can grow out of those blossoms. This is amazing. Look at that. Look at those blossoms. See? This is kind of like the end of the apple, the end part of the apple where these type of pollen stems are coming out. They're coming out the rear end of the apple. So, and as you can see, this part kind of remains, and then right underneath these pollens, right now there is, maybe you can, it's starting to swell up. So I don't know if this shows, but right underneath those pollens, as you can see, some of the petals have fallen off here. I eat some of those. They're very, very good for you. They're full of important nutrients and minerals and vitamins. So these petals they have a very strong scent, and these pollens too, and they attract pollinator bees and bumblebees and hummingbirds, and they go from one to another, and they kind of cross contaminate, I don't know what the word is, kind of cross-pollinate each other, so not contaminate, of course. They cross-pollinate these flowers, and then the apple grows right under those petals and under those pollens, and that part there which is basically the hip of the flower, and that starts to grow, that hip of the flower. And right now it's like just about a few millimeters big, and it's already swelling up. It starts growing immediately. They start growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing until the end of October, when they are huge apples. And that's amazing. I find that fascinating, all of this. I find growing fascinating. I'm in absolute awe with plants that grow just from a seed. We have an apple tree growing at the other house and in a bucket next to an avocado tree. Both of them started growing on their own from the seed, which is very, very rare for apple trees to actually germinate out of a seed, because usually the conditions aren't right. The sun may be too bright on them, on an apple that falls somewhere, or it's too soggy, or animals eat them, and I don't know, maybe they germinate inside of animals as well, so that happens a lot with fruits. So fruits want to be eaten because they go through that really, really warm, long intestines of an animal, horse or cow, and then it comes out the rear end, and it is still embedded into the cow patty or the horse dung, and kept warm in that, and then it has the chance to grow and to create a little sapling. So, and that's what happened in our compost, because we live 100% green and clean. I mean, in terms of composting cycle, so that's huge. That's a huge step. We still use electricity, but we've cut down on electricity a whole lot. Like, we really, really live with absolute minimum electricity. So at night we have LED night lights plugged into the electric outlets, so that we can barely see to go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen without falling and without turning on any light switches, which is not good for us. If we get up at night to turn on the big lamp, is not good for us at all. It shakes your entire system up if you are flooded with light, or if someone shines a flashlight into your eyes. That's not good. Particularly not good in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be sleeping. So that's why we have these night lights, and also to cut down on electricity use, of course. So very important, all of this. And there are daisies growing, and I already ate a whole lot of those. They're very good for you. They're very healthy. They're very good. They cleanse out your intestinal tract. They're very, very good. They're very, very powerful anti-gas buildup agents. So that's very good. If you eat beans, if you eat a lot of Mexican food, which Paul does, and then you eat 10 daisies afterwards, then that will relax the intestines and it will have some kind of gas prevention effect on the intestines. So that's very, very good. It's very, very soothing also on your stomach and on all of the intestinal areas. Your intestines are they're vital organs for the body to assimilate the nutrients into the body. There's a whole lot of stuff that's going on in there. And when people have stress, that has a drastic effect on the intestinal tract. So it's very important not to have stress, not to have any psychological stress at all. And that's why when I have psychological stress, or there's a problem arising, psychological issue or whatever, or I feel mistreated by someone, or whatever, I will address that. I will talk about that immediately. I'm not going to be harboring that somewhere tucked away in the back of my head. So I'm going to be addressing it right away. And I will say to the other person, this is not okay how you acted. I do this all the time with Paul. I don't want to get mad at him, and I will particularly get mad if I don't address it right away. So I have to address it right away. I have to say, this is not okay the way you acted with this or that. Okay, I don't like that, with that snappy tone, and I think it's very important to point these things out to the other person, not in form of a struggle, not like don't give an ultimatum, don't threaten anyone. I tend to get into that direction myself, which is not good. I have to remember not to do this. I have to remember not to go in the direction of ultimatum and saying, or not even marginally, not even, and that happens very quickly when I say, I don't want to live with someone who acts like this. So that's not good to do that. That puts stress on him. So I need to say, this is not okay, I don't like it, don't talk to me with that tone, okay? And if I'm very upset, I can sit there in meditation, go into my own mind, and I can feel how it feels in this very moment without acting it out on someone else. I can also have a conversation, with the apple tree. And the apple tree says, it's all good, I smell good, that's all that matters, you know. And these apple blossoms, they smell amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing. They make me high. Smelling on those makes me high. Oh, they smell like my grandmother's soap. That's how they smell like. Yes, my hair looks magenta. But anyway, I like to have my hair cut like this. It feels free and nice. Not just in terms of free, my face is free and I can breathe and I don't have to do this all the time, but also in terms of social freedom. My haircut is social magenta helmet Carl Dönitz donated freedom. Okay, that's what it is. And it feels good, very good. It feels very good. So there's so many things that go through my head all the time. You know, I'm thinking about Patricia Piccinini. She's an artist. She's my age. She lives in Australia. She's originally from South Africa. They moved to Australia, and she's married in Australia. She has, I think, 2 daughters, and she makes these amazing chimera sculptures. They look absolutely realistic. I mean, if you go up and you touch it, you will probably feel that it is made out of a rubber material. But when they're sitting in a museum, in an art museum, and you walk by, you will think that there's an actual person sitting, or there's an actual chimera sitting, you know, a hybrid, straight out of some kind of Frankenstein lab experiment, you know, a hybrid between animal and human. She of course she gets bombarded and hated by the religious people, religions and religious communities. She gets bombarded with hate, but that's not her problem. Okay, she's there to also bring something fascinating to the world, also shed some light on what could happen in the future. You know, she's been thinking about this because they will make experiments like this. It's not like if, it is when. Okay, and they're probably already making experiments with this chimera splicing, gene splicing experiments. There's another artist, Adam Brandigius, I think is his name. Brandigius, yeah, he's from Canada, and he made something amazing called the Gene Pets, and they are babies in some kind of cryo tank cubicle. You can buy them like that, and they move. They're battery operated. They're obviously robotics, and they look very real. And they're like those Tamagotchis, you know, in Japan. That name Tamagotchi comes from Japan. The Japanese were already very big with this. I think even in the late 80s or something, that thing came out, a little mini robot that has to be catered to, has to be fed in order to stay alive. And I think Tamagotchi in Japanese, I think that means my little protege or something like this, my little baby that I have to take care of. And they can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, of course. So Adam Brandigius made these gene pet Tamagotchis that you have to take care of them. You have to give them, I don't know, some imaginary fluids or some kind of alien milk or whatever, and that's just basically a symbolic act, but you have to do this, and that docks onto some kind of circuits in that circuit board, and it keeps this program going. Yeah. So, what's the matter?
Nose is bleeding.
Oh no, baby dog, no. I wonder what's going on now. Oh,
Pee or something.
oh no, I hope not. Oh, baby. Baby dog, come here to me. Come here. Baby dog. I gotta make part two. So.